Oh my goodness. I made it. Okay. We're live, guys. I don't know who's stuck around for the 45-minute reschedule, but thank you if you did. Yeah, so I had this is gross and no one needs to hear this, but supposed to have the septic company come pump my tank at 8 a.m. Hawaii time. It's 7 a.m. right now, so an hour from now. He showed up 40 minutes ago, and I had to talk to him and deal with it. The septic tank is shared with neighbors, so you don't even want to look in there and know what's going on because it's not always your stuff. So that I didn't expect. That is a poopy start to the day. Yes, Gus, I got my tank pumped this morning, and it was supposed to be later, but as I was getting ready for the show, I hear the truck pull in, and that was that. But it actually worked out better because Souza is going to join me this morning to chat about the history of Fight Gone Bad. And Souza is just finished coaching about 1 minute ago. So when he gets wrapped up, washes his hands from all the barbells and things he touched, he'll come set up his computer, set up at his gym, and hop on with us. So morning, Ernie. Morning, everybody else. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Fight Gone Bad today. Anyone have a good Fight Gone Bad story? I have a decent one. I'll tell my story here while waiting for Souza. Hi, Sarah. So first time I actually ever did CrossFit, my first CrossFit workout ever was Fight Gone Bad. So that kind of made it, that kind of makes this workout a little bit special to me because my first CrossFit story always features this workout. And I did it up at the police academy in Maine when I was going through there. So our second day of the academy, they introduced us to CrossFit. This was back in 2008. And they basically said, this is going to be our training methodology for your entire 18 weeks that you live up here and do all this stuff. And so I was already kind of a little bit in the fitness world. I had like my NASM certification. I was training friends and a couple clients through some real boring shit. And then when they introduced me to CrossFit, it really freaking blew my mind. I knew right away that that was what I wanted to, the avenue I wanted to go down with fitness on the side. And so first workout, Fight Gone Bad, I was like, okay, I'm one of the fitness guys here at the academy. I got to like throw down. I got to go hard. I'd never seen bumper plates before in my life. I'd only seen metal plates at the gyms I was at. And so like when they put the plates on for 75 pounds, I'm like, holy shit, what's 135? That's going to be hard. But they're like, no, it's 75. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. Still freaking hard. Couldn't squat to depth of my wall balls. I had like the cadre, or people might think of them as like drill sergeants, so to speak, come around screaming at me, lower on your squats. Really just doing a horrible job. I thought I was in shape. That workout immediately humbled me, my first time ever. And as soon as that was done, I proceeded to head over to the nearest trash can and vomit up my breakfast. And that was my first CrossFit experience with about 60 other cadets, most of them guys, all trying to throw down, and people start on different stations. So we'll talk about Fight Gone Bad, like the order of it a little bit. But, I think it's, geez, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I'd have to look. It's wall ball, sumo deadlift, high pull, box jump, push press, row, I think is the order. And but people were starting at all different stations because, like I said, there was 60 of us with like a bunch of different setups going on. Kind of looked like you would imagine it like a level 1 if they did it, how many setups they'd have to have, and then just rotate people through. And it just absolutely horrendous. But yeah, that was my first CrossFit workout ever. And once I threw up, I think I gained a little respect from some other people. Like, damn, he's going to be willing to throw down. And yeah, I pushed it hard from there every day since. Ooh, Gus, my brother threw a ripstick at me and hit our parents' car. That fight went bad. Well, fight between you and your brother, or did your parents beat the hell out of you guys after? Ernie, my second CrossFit workout, and I hated it. Oh, ooh, look at this.
Even at home.
Wow, you made it home. Unbelievable.
My amazing wife helped me out a little bit, so we're good.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, my wife's helping me out right now. We actually have a trip we're leaving on in a few hours. And she's like, you fucking scheduled a live stream like a few hours where we have to fly to the mainland. I'm like, I just got to do it. So she's running around doing tasks for me right now.
Oh, you got to love them for helping out, right? With all our little shows and all these other ventures we get into.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing? Good to see you
Good,
again.
good. Yeah, you as well. I caught a little bit of the tail end of the show with Greg this morning. Just saw him talking about programming. I saw him give Chase a little 1-2 on his main site thing. Did you see that or hear that?
No. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I did
just picking
actually.
on him a little. He's like, well, I think the workout would be better like this. And the comments blow up like, oh, Chase, RIP. Like, I
Yeah.
was like, man, I'd love to have Greg rip my workouts apart. That'd be awesome.
Well, it was funny too because Devon was like, "Oh shit, I didn't even realize that was Chase's workout." He's like, "I wouldn't have thrown him to the wolves like that." I was like,
Hey,
"No, it
when
was
you're
good.
on
It was
when
good."
you're on main site, it's fair game. That's it. You've agreed to post your thoughts to the world if you're on that blog. So that's it.
100%. You're absolutely right. Open to public debate. Oh shit, you froze. Did I froze? Did you freeze? What happened?
I think
Oh,
I
you're
went
back.
down there for a second. I'm back.
Okay, yeah, there you go. I got you.
Okay,
I was,
cool. That good old Hawaii internet. Okay. So
yeah.
today we're going to talk about Fight Gone Bad. So I asked you yesterday if you had heard the story. Are you familiar with what had happened with Fight Gone Bad? Did you look anything up or see anything about it?
I did not. I just listened to what you had said, and I wanted just to like do it on the show afterwards before I
Okay.
dug in. I had never heard that, by the way, which was crazy because usually I would like to think I know pretty much everything, but obviously not.
This sort of scandal, as far as like CrossFit level scandal, is so good that if this happened during the days of Andrew Hiller, it would have been like multiple videos, multiple videos, in my
Oh
opinion,
man.
anyway. And I don't even have all the facts. I just have what I was able to gather over the years about what happened. So I have a few things. So we'll start with a little video here.
Okay.
First of all, let's see. If people don't know, BJ Penn, the famous, very famous, one of the kind of OG champions in UFC, trained CrossFit for a while. I don't know what he's up to now, but even when he was fighting, he was doing CrossFit, and Greg was coaching him. And there's a lot of old content and pictures and videos with BJ and Greg. And so this is just him doing some muscle ups, just to prove the fact.
Oh no.
Do is watch him get this false grip. He's going to get the ring across his wrists. Go ahead, BJ. Tackle that thing.
So BJ is a
real
CrossFitter.
High grip on it. He's shortening the arm. And now from a hang, he's going to pull the rings into his chest. Go ahead, BJ, and show him how it's done. He's going to pull the rings into his chest and under his armpits and end up on top and drive it out into a dip. He's going to come back down and repeat the movement. Let's see. Can you do 5 in a row?
Can you do 5 in a row? Okay.
He damn well knows he can't do 5 in a row.
And he didn't even force the full range of motion either. So, so anyway, Greg and BJ worked together. BJ came to him to get some conditioning, I assume, for his fight career. And so Greg made this workout with 3 rounds, minute stations, 5 stations.
I wonder if I'm also frozen when you're frozen. Right?
I'm
There you go.
struggling
You're back
today.
now.
I'm struggling
That's all right.
today. I'm going to
That's
fight
all
through
right.
it.
Fight through it. Fight.
I'm
Don't let
gonna.
it get to you. It's all right. I'll just also freeze.
Yeah, there you go.
And then
Yeah.
come back
You
when you're
might
back.
have to keep the show alive if I disappear for a length of time.
Oh, no worries. I can rant on anything.
Perfect guess for this. So the lore is after that workout, BJ said, wow, that felt like a fight gone bad. And then the workout was then named that. And so that's probably back, I'm just guessing years now, 2003, 2004, something like that. And then every time since that workout has been retested or shared or brought into seminars or whatever, they've called it Fight Gone Bad. And I think it's fair to say that everyone who's been in CrossFit for any length of time has either done Fight Gone Bad or heard of Fight Gone Bad. Have you ever programmed at your gym or more than once?
Yeah, it used to be our Thanksgiving workout. Where
That's sick.
because we only did one big class, and it was just the easiest way to cycle people through. Then as the gym grew, it was like 2 heats, and then now it's too big.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I did it with, I was just telling people before you got on that was my first workout ever at the police academy. And there was 60 people that they put us through. They just set up a bunch of stations and then started you at whatever station they wanted and just people rotated through. But anyway, so Fight Gone Bad, if you're not familiar, quick little video, like old school video here. We'll do the K-Star one. We don't see enough K-Star. on, pick that
Yep.
music.
You gotta love that music.
Oh my God.
The med ball into the butt.
I love it. I didn't use that for a long time and then started using it again with some of my one-on-one clients in recent years.
Have you done
Yep.
fight before? Only once. What was your score? I can't remember. It was a while ago, but it was low. 400, 500? No. 600? Maybe in my mind. What are you shooting for today? Hopefully about 250.
Relax, don't do it. When you want to go to it. Relax, don't do it.
So yeah, here's the basic idea. You got a minute at each
How much more
station.
did it cost me to make you chug a warm cup of fat?
That's nasty.
Holy
Wow.
shit. Fight on bad.
Just short of 300,
How short?
about 280.
Do you think you any predictions today? Game day.
I feel like I'm ready for a kickoff. Got the butterflies going, ready to go.
Good luck today. We are live. Fight on bad. Santa Cruz level 1 certification. We are going to spend around and just take a look at some of the athletes moving.
This is like what you do
Take
now,
a look at
Sousa.
some faults.
Yeah.
Hollywood. Adam, you need to go twice as
That's
fast.
aggressive.
Twice as fast.
It's
Adam, faster. That's where you need to go, Adam. Nice, Adam. There you go, Adam. Keep going. Keep going. Don't rest overhead. Jump from the chest. Why do people want to rest from overhead? That a boy.
All right. We get the point. So Fight Gone Bad used for years and years. There's even a bunch of different variations of it. I think there was a variation where they did a task priority at HQ. They raced through like 20 reps on each station for 3 rounds. They have Fight Gone Bad Championship Edition, where it was 5 rounds of the regular workout. They had all these variations. It was a staple. I mean, everyone knows Fight Gone Bad. It was a normal, regular benchmark, as popular maybe as like a Helen, probably not a Fran. Fran's like legendary status, but like a Helen, a Karen, stuff like that. It's up there. And
Mhm.
so the story that I heard, and I brought some evidence we'll display here shortly. Apparently, there was a gentleman. I have to look up his last name here. Should be right on here. I'll find his name in a minute. There was a gentleman who did this workout his name's Scott Zagarino. He did this workout back in like 2006 or 2007 in Los Angeles at a friend's CrossFit gym. Loved the workout. Had the idea that he would start a charity where he ran this workout, similar to what we may know of as like barbells and boobs now, or some of the other things you do. You do a single workout, you raise money and donate the money. So he started a charity using Fight Gone Bad as like a cancer research fundraiser sort of thing. And so he brought it back. I think he opened a gym or either partnered with a gym in New York, something like that. And he started what he called Fight Gone Bad. He just kept the name and said, this is the Fight Gone Bad event every year. I'll find out the year here. I actually have the full complaint downloaded if anyone wants to read the whole court document. So he started, I know, it's what you find on the internet's incredible. So he started this event, and the first year he raised something like 100K. Next year he raised something like 500K, and the year after that he raised like 1.1 million. And every year he had, big money, right? Like crazy money.
Yeah.
We actually don't hear about that from almost any other event in CrossFit making that much money, especially third party, outside of it being like an HQ thing.
Mhm.
So he calls the event Fight Gone Bad, and eventually it becomes so popular, and he has so many other affiliates doing this charity event with him each year. He decides to trademark the name Fight Gone Bad for his event. He trademarks the event. And so CrossFit reaches out and goes, this is a huge event that you're using.
Oh shit, he'll be back. Don't you worry. Big event. They're using their name.
Am I back?
Here we go. You're back.
Okay.
You're back. It's
So
good. It's a
big
big event, and they were using their name.
Thank you. Thank you. Big event using the name. And so CrossFit wants to be involved now because it's like their IP. And so I guess there was calls at some point after like the 3rd or 4th event where it was it's according to the court documents, Greg was involved in these calls, and basically the guy says, well, I own Fight Gone Bad now. I trademarked it. It's mine. You guys can't have it back. I could license it back to you and you could run it, but I still want to have the rights to all this stuff. And so they go back and forth, and just kind of getting a feel of Greg's personality. He's not going to bend over and go, okay, you keep it. I'll license it from you. So I assume the phone got hung up and Greg moved on to something else. But so anyway, there was, after CrossFit continued to use Fight Gone Bad as part of their regular promotion of workouts or whatever, this guy now creates this.
Right at the good part. What did he create? There you go.
This is crazy. I might go try to plug into my thing in a second here. I have like a 50-foot Ethernet cable for Hawaii problems. So anyway, Sports Grants sues CrossFit, and CrossFit has to go to court for damages. And I actually don't even know the result of that, but I'm gonna pull it up. Oh man, yeah, people tell me to reboot. All right. Yes, BJ Penn did run for office in Hawaii. I think he's quite a conservative too, and he got smacked around because there's no conservatives in Hawaii. That's one fight he cannot win. And his ideas are a little bit above and beyond what people would tolerate. Okay. Can you see that? Am I gone? Am I here?
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I could see it.
Beautiful. All right. So here's the actual complaint filed. It looks like February 3rd in 2012. We have the actual complaint here. Apparently in the District of Oregon, Sports Grants versus CrossFit Inc. And then basically it sums up a lot of what I had just said. So like point 16, in and around spring of 2006, Zaccarino came up with the idea of naming the charity event Fight Gone Bad, which was a phrase he had heard used by the mixed martial artist BJ Penn to describe a particularly tough and challenging workout designed for him. So all the facts here talk about how many gyms participated. How the first one he raised $117,000, and then this seems like his big argument here is neither Greg Glassman nor anyone at CrossFit had any communications about these events, nor did they help support the event. So I think his argument is if you have something that you think belongs to you and you don't defend it when someone else goes to trademark it, you can't keep it. And I think that's pretty common. So this guy's like, they're not defending it. I'm taking it and I'm going to run with it because I don't know how much he made. I don't know if he donated 100% of profits or if he was taking a cut out of a nonprofit, like whatever. I'm not going to accuse him of anything. But so CrossFit didn't defend their mark until like 4 or 5 years later, but it wasn't even their mark. I guess you could argue it was part of the CrossFit mark or something, or falls under their IP. I don't know. So anyway, this went on. And let me ask you this. How would you feel if you created a workout or anything? You create something, you have your thing on school, you do.
Yep.
And somebody goes and just steals your IP, even takes the name and then trademarks it. You don't even know, or you're not paying attention, and then just starts running with all the stuff you're doing. What do you do about something like that? Like, how do you feel about that?
That's tough. I mean, for me, if I had no idea and all this was happening in the background, and then I found out, like the third year he did it with, and then there's like 1.2 million or something raised with it, it would be tough. Part of me would just say like, hey, do you need help with it? Like, could we get involved? Clearly you're onto something that's doing great here and you're already using my shit, right? Or I would be really pissed off because I was like, wait a minute, he took the workout and everything else and then utilized that name to build up this nonprofit. So for me, it's such a 50-50. If there was no, it's so hard to choose. I personally probably wouldn't do anything about it. I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have asked them and been like, hey, can we support this? Or is there anything else we could do to just make sure it keeps going? And it's also a good representation of CrossFit or of that workout. I would be more concerned with them taking it and twisting it and then, changing it from what its originated thing was than just letting them just kind of run with it and go. Because you can't capture every single idea. Like there's certain things you just have to kind of say, but with that being said, I completely understand Greg being like, hey, you took all of our stuff and you utilize this for your gain. Now, since it's around a nonprofit, I think that's probably why I'm a little bit softer on it. I would like to know the ins and the outs
Yeah.
because you could definitely say, hey, this nonprofit costs X amount of dollars to run, and that's how much I need to pay myself with, and then the X amount of dollars go to here. So as long as there wasn't anything weird in the nonprofit where it felt like the people were being ripped off or misled, then I probably wouldn't care that much.
I think that's a pretty solid take, actually. And oops, wrong one. I just clicked the wrong one. Gus, always got to cover your overhead in the not-for-profit world. Yeah, coming from your fittest tax auditor. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think people don't really actually understand how much work or cost things go in when you're running charity events, and people think,
Yeah, like if you raised $100,000 needs to go to the charity, and that's not the case because it takes money to put that on, to have all the people there, to have the volunteers there, all the other shit outside of that typically takes to run one of those events. Okay, I was finishing your sentence.
Yep,
So
you got it.
all those have to be paid for. And again, like for me, as long as the bulk percentage, right? So they usually do like a dollar cost averaging or something like that, and they'll say like X amount of revenue goes to percentage of revenue goes to expenses and overhead, and X amount goes to the actual charity where we cut a check and give it to that institution, individual, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So as long as that percentage made sense, because there's shit like the Red Cross where like less than 10% actually go to where it's supposed to.
Exactly. That was the point
Yeah.
I was going to make, is you have to do your research on charities because sometimes almost none ends up going to the charity. And I don't know what the legal threshold is for that, or if there even is one for nonprofits. But yeah, you just can't make money essentially as far as taxes are concerned at the end of the year. You can't profit off it. But
Right.
yeah, a lot of charities just that they're giving very little, and everyone working the charity is making way too much. So
Yep. Especially
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
lot of the bureaucrats inside those things. Like typically the people that will form them and set it up and everything else will take a pretty big cut. And then it gets real shady. And I'm not saying that this was part of the Fight Gone Bad thing, but
Right.
a lot of those people will show up and volunteer and work. And then
Yeah,
they'll write in things and not actually pay some of those people.
exactly.
I've come up against that with the individual here in Livermore that did it for years back and wanted to get all the fitness people involved to do a fundraiser for the fires that were happening up in Santa Rosa years back when they were really bad. And everybody got together. We did this huge thing. And then we found out that none of the money went where it's supposed to.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, he left states. He left the state. Turned out it was the second time he did it.
I have a more recent example, but I'm not going to share it because I feel like it could cause some bad blood. But yeah, I've seen it happen firsthand recently. So
Oh shit.
yeah, that's an off-air conversation. Yes.
Hit the scratch button.
That was awesome. So anyway, back to the overall story here. I don't actually know what happened in the way the case was. I think CrossFit lost this case to him. But then if I search Fight Gone Bad and I look for the trademarks all over Google, and I didn't go to like the actual US patent attorney freaking website or whatever, but like I can see, it says all over Google that CrossFit now owns Fight Gone Bad. So I don't know if they got it back at some point, if he stopped doing I don't think he.
Yeah, I'd be curious to find out too if this event is still happening, which I'm pretty sure that's what you're gonna go to say.
Yeah, here I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think CrossFit won the lawsuit. But CrossFit immediately did pivot when this was going on. So I think I showed when it was filed. This was filed in like 2012 in February. And then in 2000, I think later in 2012, CrossFit decided to do their own event. Do you remember CrossFit for Hope?
I do.
So
It was for
that's
St. Jude's, right?
Correct. So
Yeah.
that is what Fight Gone Bad turned into for CrossFit to come.
Yeah, I remember when that got released too. I think they did a big thing with it at out in main site. Yeah, this was it.
Oh yeah, actually I have it on main site. Hang on. Oh yeah. Hang on one
Yeah, they
second
had a
here.
video on it. It's funny. I actually just put this. I have this ongoing long document of just workout ideas. So anytime I see something that like looks good, I'll just throw it in that document. And then kind of when I go to start programming, I'll start looking through it. And if it's something like this, like CrossFit for Hope, where like it fits and I could plug it in somewhere, I'll do it. So it's just funny that you had mentioned that because literally I watched this video like a week and a half ago.
Oh, that's crazy. What's funny is I couldn't remember the name of this workout. I was like, I had all my like Fight Gone Bad story like sorted out. And I'm like, what the hell was the charity workout that they did after this? And then I had to do a deep dive and found it. So Hope is basically a different version of Fight Gone Bad. 3 rounds. And it's the same thing, 1 minute at each station, but you do burpees, power snatch with 75 pounds, box jumps with a taller box. If you don't know, Fight
Combat did have the 20-inch boss as the standard. It was a shorter one for that time. And then they
Correct.
upped it. Okay.
I can hear you the whole time. I get blacked
Okay.
out when I disappear.
Alright.
So keep going. This is perfect. You're just like, you're
Okay.
doing great. I'm just praying that StreamYard's recording me on my computer, and when this gets uploaded, that it's going to be a full episode at this point. I'm just praying it works out. But you're doing,
Yeah.
you are literally finishing my sentences perfectly.
Okay.
And on top of that 20-inch box, you could jump off the top and rebound back on, and that's how most people got a lot of their reps in Fight Gone Bad in early days. People like to argue that you can't do that, but this whole step down standard is a brand new CrossFit open thing in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Everyone used to rebound. Yeah. So Hope again, burpee, power snatch, box jump, thruster, and chest to bar. Much nastier, in my opinion, than Fight Gone Bad. Same format. And then, yeah, they just did their own cancer fundraiser basically with it. They sent out posters to every affiliate. I can tell they were pissed about the Fight Gone Bad thing when it was happening, because they went so above and beyond for Hope. They were like begging affiliates to sign up, sending you like swag and posters to hang up at your gym. They like went way above and beyond promoting this compared to stuff they'd done in the past, because they were like, okay, fuck this guy and his Fight Gone Bad stealing shit. So they definitely like went above and beyond with it. But that's, I mean, full circle. That's what happened. Fight Gone Bad was born. It turned into Hope.
And I love the overcorrection and reactionary responses from CrossFit back in the day, because there was like, and you got to remember, like in 2012, this company was growing so fast. In 2009, they hit 1,000 affiliates, and then it was just like to the moon from there. And I think 1 year, the most amount of affiliates that signed up in a year was like 3,100 or something. So you can imagine, like, just do the math on that. If you're processing an application and trying to get your affiliates filled in, and you have like 3,100 affiliates that have signed up in that 1 year, just do the math on how many you're having to cycle through each day. And so and then on top of that, your certifications.
What year was that, you
growing.
think? What year was that, you think?
If I had the paper right next to me, I could give you the actual year, but I want to say that was like, I mean, I don't have the paper. That would be weird if I had internal old documents. I think it was like 2013. I want to say was the year that was right. Like where they had that many affiliates. And Sevon knows the like internal metric that they used to talk about. And it was something like every 5 minutes a new affiliate opened around the world or something. And it was crazy. And at the time, the only other company that was doing that well, and not globally, but just in the US actually, was Chipotle. And they were like, oh my gosh, like Chipotle is just this big boom. They're opening so many all over the place. Starbucks through that time also had a massive opening of stores too. And like, it was like those three companies were opening more locations than any other brand in the world at the time.
That is the weirdest trio ever. You would so like expect to hear that from Chipotle and Starbucks, but then to throw like a Forging Elite Fitness, Pukey style fitness company into the mix with that, essentially fighting back on, I mean, not necessarily Chipotle, but Starbucks and everything they stand for, is pretty hilarious.
It is. And the funny thing was, I think Greg at the time was saying, hey, I want to outpace diabetes centers where they do like dialysis and stuff like that. And he was like, so if we can grow more CrossFit affiliates, then they are opening those like, diabetes centers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The dialysis centers, then we're doing the right thing, because we'll have more opportunity for people that will be preventative, as opposed to the place where they have to go once the issue is already there.
Well, he'd need to go like 2 for 1, because Starbucks is literally, as you say, a diabetes center. And then there are dialysis centers that correct Starbucks's issues with everybody. So that's funny.
Yep. And an interesting thing that I think would apply right now is there was a digression of Starbucks, where as many as they opened, they ended up closing a massive percentage of them just to kind of like get everything back under their control and consolidate and make it right. Yeah, because one of the issues that they started to have, and ironically, this is very close to what we're seeing in CrossFit, was the fact that like the Starbucks was always like their third place where you would go and like hang out at. And they started to like lose that a little bit as it just grew too big. So they're like, hold on, tighten this thing back up, make sure our stores that are open are really solid. And then we could go back into a growth phase.
I got to say, not the biggest fan of Starbucks, but when I do have to go there in a pinch, they are super consistent. No matter which Starbucks I go to, I get the same tasting like whatever. It's incredible actually how consistent their product is. It's not necessarily good, but damn, they're on the money with it. That's
if you
not easy
can't be
with coffee.
good, if you can't be good, be consistent, right?
Yeah.
Because then at least there's like no surprises. You know exactly what you're gonna get. But you're
And then
right
on the
too. The amount of calories and sugar that were in those drinks was horrendous. Anyway, sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
No, I was gonna say, and the complete opposite goes with like CrossFit gyms. So we're talking about the two fastest growing chains, and then CrossFit gyms have a very hard time of finding consistency, and even to this day, consistency is a big problem, and that's one of the knocks I think that we get is someone went to a gym that wasn't up to the standard that they want it to be, and now they carry that feeling to every other CrossFit gym's the same to them because they don't have enough knowledge about the independence of each facility and ownership and all that stuff. So yeah, with Starbucks, when you're expecting consistency and then the other chain is inconsistent, that can hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it does. And one of the things that I had talked about that I think would help curve that was like taking all the L1 seminar staff and putting it as part of their job just to drop into their local affiliates like once a month and like not do an audit or anything else, but just basically just drop in and do a class. Because I don't know about you, but like I know that if a red shirt came into my gym and I was coaching, like you're gonna put your best foot forward. And if you go into a gym and you put your best foot forward and it still sucks, you know that there might be a little bit of an issue there, right? And so I just think that like little accountability piece is a way to still let everybody have their independence, but also just have tabs on what's going on in different areas.
I don't hate that idea, but yeah, having one drop in on you at the start of class would certainly give you a mini heart attack and then force you to maybe, well, here's the thing. If it forces you to change what you were going to do, then that just tells you right there that you weren't super prepared or weren't expecting to give your top lesson anyway, right? So like maybe that's a good wake up call.
Yep, 100%. I actually, in the early days of the gym, because I bought an existing CrossFit gym that was just open gym, there was no coaching, and I was trying to put the culture of of coaching into that, running classes in a way. And I actually sent an email to Dave at CrossFit.com, and was like, "Hey, I'm a new affiliate owner in this area. Like, if you ever drop by." And he was like, "Awesome, like, will do," or something, just a general like response, which was already awesome that he responded. And I took that, I ran with it. I told all the staff like, "Hey, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but Dave Castro is going to drop in. Like, here's the email. Don't be the coach that gets the freaking Dave drop in and we all look like idiots because we're not up to par. So like, if you guys have questions about stuff or whatever, blah, blah, blah." And I ran with that for like, dude, years. Maybe one day he'll drop in.
I might just make something like that up. And then just have that little fear in the back of the coach's head. Like, what if he comes in this week? I heard he was coming. But
nobody wants to be the weak link.
In the North Shore gym too, like the other thing I can use is in the North Shore, Hawaii, there's all these like celebrities that hide up there. And you never know which celebrity is going to buy an open gym pass and come into your gym because it's the only gym for like 15 miles in each direction, like any type of gym. It's the only gym up there. I'm always like, hey, you don't want some famous actor coming in and you're getting caught with your pants down here, not with your best. And people are like, oh, that's right, so-and-so could walk in. Like the Golden State Warriors were just up here, like next door to the gym. And I was like, what if one of them walks in when you're coaching? What are you going to do? They're like,
that's right.
Oh, yeah. So anyway.
That's it, 100%.
All right, CrossFat, you missed me cutting out about 10 times during the show with my poor internet quality. Souza saving the show. But we talked about Fight Gone Bad and how it was created by Greg and then I'll say stolen by somebody else for a charity event. And then CrossFit lost it for good. Okay. Oh, great question. Ernie, has he actually dropped in?
No, he's never dropped in. We had Katie Hogan drop into the gym though, and this was actually recent. This was probably like a year ago, and she's our affiliate rep here on the West Coast. So she just dropped in just to like check up on the gyms. By the way, Katie Hogan is an absolute gem of an affiliate rep that we have out here. She has been amazing, and I don't think I give her enough credit with all the criticisms I have of CrossFit. But she dropped in like a year or so ago, and my wife was coaching, Grace was coaching, and I was like, "Oh, how'd it go?" And she was like, "Katie and I are like BFFs now." And then sure enough, Katie was like, "Dropped in, your wife was great." And like for like 3 days, Grace just walked around with her head huge and was like, "Yeah, well, we all know who the real coach is here, the best one, you know." And she killed it so much that Katie reached back out and was like, "Hey, like, what's your guys' deal for new members? I'm sending my parents your way. They live really close to the gym." And to me, that was a massive compliment. Like if you could have a flow master, an affiliate rep say, "I've been to all the gyms in the area. right? And I'm gonna recommend my parents go to yours. Like to me, there's no better compliment from somebody like her than a statement like that.
I totally agree. And she's done it all too, like you said. I think she's even an individual games athlete a couple times back early days, or at least yeah, was she individual games or at least high
Valley
level
Girls,
regionals?
man. The
Oh
Valley
yes, yeah,
Girls. You
yeah,
remember
with
we'd
Becca.
watch
Yeah,
all them in
absolutely.
SoCal, and it would be like, and then it got
Val,
weird because
Becca,
there was only
her.
like, there's only 3 spots, but there were like four girls that we all watched, or 5 girls that we all watched and really liked and were really high level. So you were like, oh shit, which one's gonna make it? Which one's not this year? You know? But yeah, it was the early Valley Girls back in the day.
I remember that. All right, we'll take a couple comments, then we'll wrap it up. We'll make it a short show today.
Sure. Hey, what are you doing
Just-
before you go to the comments? Where are you going in the mainland? Where are you going to be? You go to like Arizona, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to Phoenix. I'm gonna spend a couple days at that gym there, just do some coaching and mostly socializing, just hanging out with people, and then supposed to drive up to Vegas, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. We'll see.
Do you have any interest in going to Greg's new seminar in January?
Where's it gonna be?
Scottsdale.
In January. I'll follow up with you after the show about that.
Roger.
Because that may be, that may be. I would love
There'll
to.
be a
The short answer,
yeah.
short answer is I would love to. Yeah.
Okay.
But,
there'll be a bunch of them, I'm sure. I think once he does this first one, he's gonna get the bite, and I don't think he'll leave his house. There won't be any reason to. If that gym, like the stuff that I've helped with a little bit with the gym, as far as like getting it fitted with soundboards, the ability to like live stream out of there, and then just seeing it as
sick.
it's been going, it will probably be the world's most badass gym.
That is awesome. And that's going to be in Scottsdale.
It's at his house. It's his house.
Oh, wow. Okay. How
Yeah.
much land
So
does he have there?
dude, it's insane. So right now he bought a house, and then he bought the big open section of property next to where he was going to build his house. So then he's able to watch the whole thing being constructed. He has a great relationship with the person who's heading up the whole entire project, the developer. And basically the front of that property is this really massive house that'll be his main residence. And then all the way pushed towards the back will be it's basically like a big classroom. I wouldn't even call it a gym, because it's got stuff for like a music room. It has a recording studio in there. It has an art room in there. It has a whole entire like kitchen, industrial or like a commercial sized kitchen. So you could learn all this culinary stuff and things. It's going to be insane. And I'm going to try to convince him to like live stream a ton of stuff and do a ton of cool things out of there. So I'm excited for
That's
it.
insane. So he must be kind of on the outskirts then, if he's going to open like a somewhat commercial style facility, because a lot of places in Arizona, or at least that like bigger Phoenix metropolitan, would not allow you to have your business on your property like that.
No, and I don't think he's going to call it like officially a business. I just think he's going to be like, nope, this is like my closest 100 friends.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's the one person that I would actually be like, you know what, that's fair. He doesn't even give a shit about making money off this particular. It's non-profit. Like, it's not. Yeah, he might get away with that just fine.
And he just enjoys it. And yeah, that's exactly what he would do. He'd be like, I'm not even charging any of these people or something like that.
Yeah.
And hopefully find some sort of a loophole.
Yeah, he would. That's awesome. All right, let's see if there's any good comments, and then we'll call it. Everyone just wants me to go around and visit other places. Assessment for the police academy. Yeah, Fight Gone Bad was my first workout at the police academy, Michael. So we don't use it as an assessment. They use it as a beat you into the ground and see who's willing to puke, and then we'll decide who should be the leader of the little squads for the exercise. That's how I got my first leadership credential.
Hey, if I were to put a
Fight Gone Bad
gun to head as far as academies in general, it doesn't necessarily have to be police, but let's just call it like just the first responder academy. Is there any workout that comes to mind that would be a good test 1 and test 2 to see a fitness improvement over a 20-week academy?
And you're talking like the actual definition of fitness, not like their Cooper standard like test they have to pass.
No, yeah, I'm talking about like an actual just generally prepared fit person that you could do that one workout and you could say, hey, if they perform it in X amount of time, like that individual is fit and they could accomplish whatever task. Not too high skill, but just something that works. I'll let you know. I want to hear your answer first, then I'll tell you the one that I do for the Fire Academy. It's not a benchmark.
Okay, it's not a benchmark. Well, I'll just use I'll use concepts of a benchmark. I would say something along the lines of half of Murph with some sort of like rounds of DT built in. So like some mix of like moderate barbell or weightlifting with just like higher end, fit people can push the cycle rate, or others can just kind of survive. But I need running in there for first responders. I need basic body weight movements. Push up, pull up, squat is essentially the three that I would want to see the most of. And then some sort of moving mass. If you want to get real creative with it, you could throw, dummy to shoulder and carry sort of things. Like I don't have an answer. I don't have like a benchmark off the top of my head, but those are the things I'd want to see in a test like that.
Yeah, that's cool because that's pretty much the elements that I have in mind. So the first one I have them do day one, like literally the first day of the academy after we go through the orientation portion of it. I have them do 5 rounds for time, 400-meter run, 15 burpee box jumps. And they,
Ooh, I love that.
They have to step up on it just because I don't know everybody's fitness level. I don't want anybody getting a shinner on day one. And it's all a 20-inch box across the board for everybody. And then we retest that. After they go through a couple of weeks of barbell competency, then I have them do a hang clean. It's a 200-meter run, 7 hang cleans, 7 thrusters, max effort burpees in remaining time, 2 on, 2 off, 5 rounds.
What's the weight?
75.
Okay, 75.
Yeah, and that's only just because like most of these guys are green. Like now, 5 years into running the Livermore Pleasanton Academy, I have more people that know a thruster and a hang clean. When I started this in 2020 with them, I would say 15% knew a hang clean and a thruster coming into the academy.
Yeah, but I think the 75-55 load is very, very appropriate for just like regular functionality of work. I mean, usually they say, can you lift 40 pounds off the ground, or 50 pounds is like your thing. But if you can cycle 75-55, that's a whole nother ball game compared to what the normal standard of working is. And then eventually, those people who excel there will naturally increase their loads anyway in their training, and you won't have to worry if that's their minimum. So it's perfect.
That's right. Yep. And then it's funny because the pull-up thing was the only thing that's void of that, but it's also super important. So what we do is we do a hang test. How long could they hang there for? And then afterwards, they'll get a couple minutes of rest, 5, 6. There's nothing really like set. But then what we have them do is 3 rounds. They do max effort, unbroken, strict pull-ups. Then right when they drop down, they have a 45-second rest to the T. They jump up and they do it again. When they drop, 45-second rest to the T, jump up and do it that 3rd time. And what I'm actually measuring there is their individual rate of fatigue between each set of pull-ups and how much ATP can restore during that time. And if you look at it, like the general theory on it is that 30 to 45 seconds is the minimum amount of time required for close to about 80% ATP restoration. So if you watch that rate of fatigue, typically I look for only 20% from their first round to their second and 20% from their second round to their third round. And ironically, if you're able to do the math on that, it turns out that it's very close to the 21-15-9.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And so I've always wondered, maybe I'll have to ask Greg if he actually put the math equation to that, because I've ran that test with a bunch of people. And like, as long as you get about that 20% of drop in between, it almost equates out to the similar drops in that 21-15-9 scheme.
If you're really good at pull-ups, does that skew your test? Because it becomes less about ATP, I think, after a certain point, and more, you're starting to shift gears, I think, in your energy system to, the glycolysis, muscle endurance, things like that. Like if someone can do 25 plus pull-ups, yeah, I mean, the first few are definitely driven by that in that early stage, but like, I don't know, does that skew it at all, you think, when you're kind of blending the energy systems a little more?
It does a little bit. So typically you'll see a higher rate of fatigue for somebody that could get like a 25, strict pull-ups in a row. But by and large, it's an individual test. And so that way this helps me skirt, and I know you this from the academies too. We have to have certain demographics of people, can't have a blanket standard because then it might be deemed unfair. But the way that I set up those workouts is you're only testing against yourself, because it's just your rate of fatigue between each one that matters. And on the running hang clean thruster workout, it's just your burpees that you try to keep continuous through that. Yep. And your score is based off your total burpees. And it's only looking for improvement from the first time we did it to the second time we did it. But I'm sure that if you really started to
time between the two?
What do you mean?
Like from the first time to the second time? The burpee one.
So we would test that, and then we would probably do it second to last week in the academy or something. So it might be like 20 weeks or something.
Oh, okay. It's a long academy.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a long test. And then the whole rest of the time we're just doing, CrossFit. So
Yep.
they're still building capacity and all these other things. And then they come back to that individual test. And it's really cool to see because some of these people have massive gains in their fitness.
Oh, I mean, there's no doubt. Like speaking from my own experience, I had an 18-week academy in Maine. You live at the academy up there, so it's full time, and they choose to use the Cooper standard because it's like certified and accredited, right? So that's their minimum
Right.
as far as their insurance goes for fitness levels, whatever. And that's kind of not really a great test of fitness. It's run, push up, sit up. That's the whole test.
Right.
But
Is it like the
it,
2-minute one or whatever, where it's like get X amount of reps in a certain amount of time?
It's changed over the years, but when I was there, it actually had just changed the year before I got there. But when I was there, it was the 1.5 mile run. It was max push-ups in one set, no time limit. So one
Okay.
unbroken set, and then sit-ups knee to elbow in 60 seconds was the 3
Okay.
tests.
Yeah.
And so you had to have a minimum to get into the academy at all. And the minimum was a joke. If you couldn't do that, you basically are not a functional human being. And then the exit was like maybe only a 10 or 15% increase that you had to meet to exit the academy. But we didn't really test that. I mean, those are very basic things, but we did that. And the cadre were pretty good about sticking to CrossFit, and we did CrossFit 5 days a week. We ran 4 days a week. We ran 1 day a week long. And then by the end, everybody had insane improvements without even doing that many push-ups or sit-ups. Like they just all improved, like crazy amounts.
Yeah,
So
that's
I thought
really
that was
cool.
cool. Yeah.
All right. Sorry to derail again your comments
You're
section. there.
good. You're good. We're gonna wrap up. I don't even dare go into
Cool.
this comment section too deep. Let's see. We'll pick up. I will not be in Phoenix, unfortunately, in December. I am quite tied up in December. Yeah, it's just a thruster, and you know what that is. I do. I do
That
like when
poor
that comes
lady.
up. I know.
She's a great person too, Flowmaster himself.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. We had a lot of you guys tune in for this. Thank you. I hope you got a little bit of fun out of the story. It's the only time I've ever heard CrossFit really lose a lawsuit or face any sort of trouble. So I always thought this story is interesting. And honestly, it pisses me off a little bit because I love Fight Gone Bad, and I feel like it got stolen from us by somebody, which I guess it's for a better cause when they've raised millions for cancer. So I can't be too mad about it. But at the same time, it's like, hey, that's all of ours. That's not just yours.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway.
And we all
last
know
words?
Greg. Yeah, I was just gonna say, and for those of you guys, like, just to end on that note, like, you have to remember Greg's like a huge like integrity person. And he talks about it in all of the lectures and different articles and things like that. So I'm guessing more of that lawsuit was a backlash of like, wow, you took our stuff and you did it for a good cause, and now you're kind of pushing us out of it. Where's the integrity there? So I would imagine that that's kind of what fueled that lawsuit, not just a total like ego thing, but like Seth said, that was all of ours. That was the community's, and you kind of pulled it off to the side.
Yeah, and CrossFit, to be clear, CrossFit is the one that got sued because they wanted to continue to use Fight Gone Bad. So they were sued by the people running the charity, which is like they didn't just leave it alone. So they
that's
claimed
crazy.
damages. They claimed damages. Anyway, dude, thank you so much for carrying the first half of the show as I had to dip out
man.
about 10 times. Thanks to my internet. I'm gonna chat with you when I close the stream down.
Cool.
Guys, thanks for watching. I'll be back next week, and I'll be on tomorrow with Taylor and Pedro on Coffee Pods and Wads. So check us out.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. See ya.